It's time for the end of the season review on the Sinister Sound audio system that we put in both the bikes. So these are both 15 Street Glides, and they had stock stereos in them when they came. And essentially, you couldn't hear the radio at all on the highway, no matter what you did. And upgraded to just the standard Sinister Sound setup with the component speakers they provide. You can kind of see them in there a little bit. Tweeter on the outside, driver in the middle. I got another video that goes over the full install, what everything looks like underneath the fairing, so I'm not going to tear that apart. I'm also not going to play any music. It's kind of pointless to listen to music that I record on my phone and then you listen back on your phone. That kind of defeats the whole purpose. But the end of the story is my wife's black bike there. She's probably got 8,000 to 10,000 miles on this season. I've got 6,000 to 8,000 miles on mine. The stereo setup was in the bike for the entire season. We've had zero issues, not a single dropout in sound, no issues with them overheating. We did trips to Wisconsin. We're in Colorado. We did a trip to Wisconsin and had Fuel Moto swap out cams in both the bikes, tune the bikes. Shout out to Fuel Moto for taking care of that for us in 2 days. Had a 2-day turnaround on swapping the cams while we were there in Wisconsin. We just stayed with some family for a couple days and then boogied back home with the new cams. We did 90 miles an hour the whole time coming back. Cruise control set at 90 miles an hour. The stereo is crystal clear. So all the wind noise, all the engine noise, not a problem with the stereo. Crystal clear, very loud. The lyrics are very easy to hear. That's something that I've always had a problem with, even in prior systems that I redid myself. I had done a bunch of stereo stuff on an old bike on my own because I'd done prior stereo installs. And when you're using kind of long throw drivers, it's still very hard to come up with a lot of high quality sound on a motorcycle because most of these long throw drivers are designed to be used in a vehicle in an enclosed space where that sound wave is captured. So this is a little bit different system where they ported the stock enclosures. They're using very tight drivers and you're able to drive very loud and very clear. So there was a big difference in what I had before on an older bike. So on top of that, being very clear on the highway, 90 miles an hour with the cruise control set, coming down I-80 all the way back, I'm able to hear it through my helmet. So this is a Shoei RF 1200. That's what I wear every day. That's what I wear on trips, what I wear around town. I don't ever ride without a helmet. So visor up, visor down, I can hear perfectly. On top of that, if I'm on the interstate, I'm wearing a pair of custom molded earplugs. One set has little filters in, they call them. They let a little bit of sound through. The other set does not. I actually discovered that I prefer the set without. The audio is still perfectly clear through the earplug, through the helmet, at 90 miles an hour on I-80. I've never had that before in a bike audio system, so that is a big, big difference. These are super loud. I would go so far as to say, as is, these are so loud that you're doing hearing damage if you're not using some kind of protection. My wife says that she can be, if she doesn't have hers cranked up and I'm listening to mine how I normally would, it'll overdrive hers when she's riding 2 or 3 bike lengths behind me if she doesn't have hers cranked up as well. They're that loud. So that's pretty impressive that they're able to put out that much sound. It's very, very clear, and I haven't had any issues with the system. You can see the full install details. There was no issues with installing it. Instructions were easy to follow, and haven't had any complaints with it. The big holdup is as far as being able to tailor the sound quality to what you want. The big holdup is the stock head unit. You can't really control a lot of the highs and lows and things like that. So if you're really an audio aficionado, you're gonna wanna change that stock head unit, or you're gonna wanna go with some kind of digital sound processor that ties in with the amp, and you can control the highs and lows to your liking. For most people, 95% of the riders, you're not going to do any of that. You're going to put in the Sinister Sound system as is, and you're going to love it. So that is about it. I just wanted to provide a end of the season update. We did local riding, mountain riding here in Colorado. We did a trip to Wisconsin. It's 1,000 miles each way. We did a trip to South Dakota. We did a trip to Montana, Wyoming, all of western Wyoming and southern Montana area, and everything was perfect. We're going to have some more big trips next year, and we'll see about doing any other audio improvement projects throughout the winter. Might look at a different amp, look at different options, maybe look at putting in a DSP. Might even change a head unit if we have any problems with these head units. I generally like to stay with the stock head units in most things, but if these have any, reliability issues, I probably would go with the Sony, waiting for Sony to come out with a true waterproof version of the double den system that people are using in the bikes. We ride in rain, we don't stop no matter what the weather is. So look for something that's going to be totally waterproof like the stock units are. And we'll see what Sony comes out with. If that comes up, then maybe I'll be doing a video on how to swap the head units. All right, that's it for now. Go out and get your system from Sinister Sound.